All right, let's talk about that feeling. You know the one, every single day you just feel a little bit stiffer than the day before. But what if you could totally transform your flexibility in just 1 month? Today, we are going to break down the science and give you a step-by-step plan to make it a reality. Let's dive in.
Does this hit a little too close to home? You stand up from your desk and, your back just groans. Bending over to tie your shoes feels like a serious undertaking. It's that classic desk job body, and it can honestly feel like you're in a losing battle with your own joints. But here's the thing, that feeling, it doesn't have to be a life sentence.
And that right there is the big promise we're digging into today. This isn't just wishful thinking, okay? We're talking about a real, actionable path to unlocking a more mobile, limber you in just 30 days. I know, it sounds pretty ambitious, but the science behind how it works is absolutely fascinating. And to be clear, this is not about just randomly yanking on your limbs and hoping for the best. Nope. This is a structured approach, a progressive plan that actually works with your body's biology to create change that really, truly sticks. So let's get into exactly how it works. So, what is really happening when you stretch? You know, most of us have this picture in our heads that we're just physically pulling our muscles like they're a rubber band. But it turns out the real magic, it's happening somewhere else entirely. Okay, this right here is a huge, huge mindset shift. For decades, we thought stretching was all about making our muscles physically longer. But what we know now is that it's much more about training our nervous system. Your brain is the real gatekeeper, and it's deciding, okay, this is as far as you can safely go. Our job is to gently renegotiate that limit. Think about it like this. Every muscle has its own overprotective bodyguard. It's called the stretch reflex, and its only job is to protect you from getting hurt. So if you stretch too far, too fast, it kind of freaks out and slams on the brakes by making the muscle contract. This is exactly why just trying to force a stretch feels like you're fighting against yourself. We need a smarter way in. Right. If we can't just brute force our way past this built-in protection system, what do? How do we send a signal to the nervous system that says, hey, it's cool, we're safe, you can let us go a little bit further? Well, the answer has this super long, kind of sciencey name, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, or PNF. But forget the name, just think of it as a secret handshake with your nervous system. It's this incredible technique where you strategically contract a muscle right before you stretch it, and doing that triggers a reflex that basically tells the bodyguard to chill out, letting you go deeper than you could before. It's pretty much the most powerful tool we have for fast-tracking flexibility. So we've got the science down. Now for the fun part. How do we actually apply it? Let's lay out the entire game plan. Here's how we take all that science and build it into a progressive, 4-week journey to completely unlock your flexibility. Here it is, the roadmap for the next 30 days. And you can see each week builds on the one before it. We start by gently teaching the nervous system new habits, then we develop that foundation, we hit a peak intensity week, and then, and this is key, we lock in those gains by making them functional. You can't just jump to the end. The structure is everything. Week 1 is all about one thing: consistency. Seriously, that's it. The goal isn't to make these massive gains. It's just to get your nervous system comfortable with the whole idea of stretching. That improvement you feel at the beginning, that's not your muscles getting longer. That's just your brain learning to relax its grip. Okay, week 2. Now that your nervous system is starting to trust you, we can start to build on that foundation. We can safely increase the challenge a little bit. That could mean holding stretches for a little longer, or maybe introducing some new movements. It's all about that progressive overload, gently pushing the boundaries of what felt possible just a week ago. Week 3. This is where the fireworks happen. This is when we bring in the secret handshake, those PNF techniques we talked about. This is our peak intensity week. By using that contract relaxed method, we're going to leverage your body's own reflexes to unlock some of the biggest jumps in your range of motion. And finally, week 4 is all about making it last. Because let's be honest, what's the point of having all this new flexibility if you can't actually use it in your real life? This week, we integrate that new range of motion into functional movements, like a really deep squat or a lunge. This step is absolutely critical because it teaches your brain to own and control that new mobility. It's what turns a temporary gain into a permanent ability. Now, to get through that whole 4-week plan, you're going to need the right tools. See, stretching isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Different techniques have very different jobs, and knowing when to use each one is what separates good results from great ones.
We're going to break down the big three: static, dynamic, and of course, PNF. The best way to think about them is like tools in a toolbox. You've got a wrench, a screwdriver, and a power drill. You wouldn't use a power drill for a tiny screw, right? Same idea here. It's about using the right tool for the job.
So let's break this down. Dynamic stretching, controlled movements like leg swings, that's perfect for your warm-up. It gets the blood flowing, it preps your body for what's coming. Then you have static stretching, where you just hold a position. That's best for your cool down, when your muscles are already warm and ready to relax. And PNF? Well, that's your power tool. That's your heavy hitter. You use that in its own dedicated session to get the absolute biggest gains. So how do you actually do this PNF thing? It sounds so technical, but I promise you this hold relax method is incredibly simple. Step 1, you ease into a stretch just until you feel that mild tension. Step 2, you contract that same muscle, but without moving. Just push against your hand or the floor for about 5 to 10 seconds. Step 3, you just relax completely. And like magic, you'll find you can gently move deeper into that stretch than you could a moment before. And really, that's all there is to it. This quote from Healthline just nails it. You keep it simple, contract, relax, breathe, and stretch. You provide those simple instructions, and your body's amazing reflexes, they handle all the complex stuff, giving you that brand new flexibility. Okay, so you did it. You put in the work for 30 days, you're feeling fantastic, more mobile than ever. But now the big question is, so what's next? How do you stop yourself from sliding right back to where you started? First, let's get a little dose of inspiration. This is a comment from a guy named Scott on a 30-day challenge. He's 58, and he says he was extremely inflexible. It took him a bit longer, 8 weeks instead of 4, but he got there. And even better, he kept it. This just goes to show that massive change is possible at any age, as long as you're dedicated. Now for a dose of reality, which is just as important. Shine here didn't stick to the plan perfectly, but still saw progress. And this is so key. The goal isn't perfection, it's just consistency. Any stretching is always, always better than no stretching. Progress comes in millimeters, so don't get discouraged if you miss a day. So what is the absolute bare minimum to keep what you've earned? You might be surprised. The research points to just 5 total minutes of stretching for each muscle group, spread out across the entire week. That's it. That's so achievable, right? Just one 30-second stretch a few times a week can be enough to hold on to all that hard-won progress. So there you have it. You have the science, you have the 4-week plan, and you have the key to making it last. You now have a complete framework for change that works with your body, not against it. That feeling of stiffness, it does not have to be your normal. So the only question left is, what will your 30-day journey look like?